Hello everyone, it is the Afro'd here with another classic album review, and today's album is In Search Of by the band N.E.R.D, which stands for No One Ever Really Dies. It was released August 21st of 2001. I don't believe there is any chart information on it, but it was released in the labels Virgin and EMI, and its singles were Lap Dance, Rockstar, and Provider. And on this particular video, I'm going to start implementing a new kind of style of recording. So I hope you all enjoy, and maybe tell me what you guys think if you enjoy this style a bit more than the other style. But anyways, without further ado, let's get this started. Interestingly enough, there is an overwhelming amount of people who weren't aware that Pharrell was and is actually in a band, even to this very day. Ever since he dropped the album Girl and the hit single Happy, I think a lot of people were regarding him as a relatively new artist, even though he's been around for quite a long time, writing, producing, and recording music since the early 1990s, along with co-producer Chad Hugo, and together they make the production duo known as the Neptunes. The Neptunes have produced for the likes of Jay-Z, Lupe Fiasco, Usher, T.I., The Roots, Drake, Game, really just a countless amount of artists actually. However, with Shay Haley added to the group, they are the alternative hip-hop / R&B / funk / rock group known as N.E.R.D, and this album In Search Of was their very first album together. A lot of the music on this album is a combination of, as I already stated, alternative hip-hop, R&B, alternative rock, and electro-funk. Much in the fashion of Neptune's production style, the beats and instrumentation can be rather minimalist and even skeletal. However, what's quite different about this particular album is that even though N.E.R.D can be classified as a hip-hop group, much of this album is more rock R&B oriented. Even from the first track, Lap Dance, you get that heavy rider vibe from the main guitar riff and Pharrell's flavorful hook. Unfortunately, one area where the album falls ever so short is just that, the instrumentation. Several of the tracks sadly feel very samey. Just listen to Lap Dance and then listen to Brain and then listen to Truth or Dare and tell me those tracks don't have similar vibes. Lap Dance and Brain especially utilize the very same guitar effect. Some may call this a theme, but for me it's just really samey. That, of course, is not to say that these tracks are bad. Many of the tracks on here I actually really liked. I thought Lap Dance was a great way to kick off the album with the very iconic line, "I'm an outlaw, click on the draw." Tracks like Run to the Sun has much more of a smooth R&B style with elements of light funk and even jazz. The prominent keyboard part just adds to that tight guitar, drum, and bass groove going on in the track. But we come to tracks like Rockstar, which really sticks to its namesake, easily being the heaviest track on the album in terms of instrumentation. I'm not exactly sure how we could classify this track, but it contains elements of hard rock, perhaps post-punk, as well as tinges of hip-hop. I guess we could put this under rap rock, but it's not exactly your Beastie Boys Rage Against the Machine type of rap rock. Even still, I really like this track, and I think it stands out on the album the most. I know this isn't a Neptunes album, that's for another day, but it's pretty easy to see where Pharrell and Chad draw the line between N.E.R.D music and Neptunes productions. Of course, the Neptunes are widely known for their productions for rappers, and more often than not, those beats can be pretty skeletal, having a great deal of synthesizer, something they love to use in their productions. But on this album, it feels a little bit fuller than your typical Neptunes beats. It could possibly be because they're producing for an actual group they're in, or the style and the theme of the album calls for it, but whatever the reason, I really dig this side of the Neptunes to incorporate a varied palette of musical styles. Many of the tracks, as you might expect, are sexually themed. The one that comes to mind the most is the track Tape You, which is literally Pharrell singing about how he wants to tape himself having sex with two girls, which is actually an event that happened to member Shay Haley. Fabulous. Not every track is about sex though. For example, on the acoustic guitar-driven track Provider, Pharrell is talking to his girl about how he has to go out and sell drugs in order to provide for himself as well as for her, and tells her that he hopes he can soon stop having to go out every night to sell cocaine and start a family with her. Now, one glaring problem I have with this album actually are the lyrics themselves, be it the writing, the delivery, what have you. Since we're talking about Provider, let's use that one. On the bridge, which actually contains a nice beat change, Pharrell says, "Someday this will be over, we'll raise a family, I'll get a job, and I'll be a voter. And if I die, it will change you. I'll watch over our family, but only as an angel." Now, I realize that this is meant to be really profound and heartwarming, but for my taste, it's honestly a little bit corny, and things like that run throughout much of this album, making it a little less enjoyable than I'd like to admit. And it's really sad because I love this beat, but the lyrics... But yeah, for the majority of this record, it's either dealing with relationships like on Baby Doll, bragging like on Things Are Getting Better, sexual escapades like on Tape You or Brain, and sometimes I'm not even sure. Lap Dance, for example, is part Pharrell talking about how tough he is, part guest vocalist Vita saying that he can get a lap dance from her, part Lee Harvey also talking about how tough he is and how great at sex he is. Again, fabulous. Now, the whole thing about them talking about how tough they are on this album, it really comes off as a try-hard attempt to act tough. It's like that one kid in school who talks about how much he knows about guns as if he owns a bunch, but really he either A, secretly plays with his daddy's guns, or B, plays a lot of Call of Duty. It doesn't blemish the album a great deal, but I do find it a bit odd that they're really on that whole tough guy act. Overall, I thought this was a pretty solid record. I enjoyed it, but I didn't think it was phenomenal in any way. It received pretty high scores, and many regard it as a classic album. Apparently, it had a huge influence on the likes of Tyler, the Creator, especially, as he mentions in his song Death Camp from Cherry Bomb. And again, I really did like this album. It certainly has its flaws, as many albums do, even classics. However, fortunately, those flaws don't keep this album from being a good listen. Even though this is a group effort, this album is very Pharrell heavy. Shay gets verses here and there, and Chad prefers to remain behind the scenes and produce, so no singing or rapping from anything like that from him. Regardless, I do recommend this album to anyone who's into alternative hip-hop, electro R&B, electro funk, alternative rock, or pop. Anyways, that does it for this another album review. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you especially enjoyed the new style that I implemented. If you like it, please let me know. And if there is a song or an album that you want to see reviewed on this channel, just leave a comment down below or check out my Facebook or my Twitter. Also like and subscribe if you want to see more. But yeah, anyways, that does it for this, and I'll see you all in the next video. So long.